Hi guys, this is CGTN reporter Ziyuan at the hallway of the Beijing Institute of Fashion Technology. So right now I'm in front of the studio. It's a little grayish hallway, but let's take a look right here. So I'm right in front of the traditional Chinese costumes studio here at the Institute, and we are showing you some of the very behind-the-scenes story of how the entire Olympic technician, volunteer, and also staff uniforms come together, and this is the brain behind all those uniforms. And let's take a look and let's check out inside. This is a very tiny studio, but amazing stuff coming out of it. And you can see it's a little bit crowded here behind me, and you can see some of the samples hanging on my right hand side. And we are slowly walking in right now, and you can also see plates right here saying it's Olympic Costume and Cultural Research Center. So Professor He Yang has been doing a lot of design as well as winning a lot of bid, because when you are selecting to design and produce this special uniforms, you pretty much have to compete with hundreds of others. And she's the one who is actually won the bid this year and being selected out of thousands of items. And let's check it out. 贺阳老师好.
Good morning.
And as you can see, she is checking out some of the clothes that she printed out. This is the original one, as she told me, and this is the one that produced as the final design. 哎，我去拿个小凳子，然后您来跟我讲一讲。
Share your story.
So I'm sitting down right now. 然后您跟我说一说，哎，首先我先问一问您，就是您做这个就是设计。
You are now designing the costumes for Olympic, and how many years have you been doing this? Since the end of 2005, I was preparing for the uniforms in 2008. Yes, since 2005, so it's over 1 decade. Fantastic. Before designing costumes for 2022, you have years of experience of innovating and designing the uniforms. And according to you, what is the major trend of those Olympic-related uniforms? Olympic uniforms are a brand, and there are certain criteria for this brand. So basically, there have to be a baseline or a benchmark to adhere to. It is one of the outlooks of the Olympic Games. So designing the costumes for Olympic Games, there must be, for example, the emblems, the keywords like Beijing 2022. Those will remain there on the uniforms. As to the functionality of the costumes, in the summer games, it must be sunproof and have good ventilation. In China, for the winter games, if the athletes are competing at the summit, it would be very cold. And since it's in Beijing, it will be windy. According to some investigation, in extreme weather conditions, perhaps in the coldest venue, there will be grade 7 to grade 9 wind, and the temperature could be as low as 30 Celsius degrees below zero. But of course, if it's too strong wind, maybe the competition will be cancelled. And for the logistics people, there may be some reshuffling of the arrangement, but for the athletes, they will still have to compete no matter how extreme is the weather. And that is demanding for our clothes. And for the two pieces of cloth, I see some differences. This one contains different colors like red, but for that edition, there is only blue and yellow. Why is the change? I've been always changing the designs. For the first edition, it may not be the best version.
we solicited opinions from the decision makers or some experts, and they may have disagreements. Sometimes they don't give us very detailed reasons, but they just had a feeling about it. And this is the previous version. In this previous version of this cloth, actually this pattern is fairly good. It's simple, plain, and there is a grid wall. You can see the grid wall elements here. You can find the snowflakes, the lights, the mountains. We zoom in at the grid wall. So we put those patterns in the shape of a square. So it's just like the bricks on the grid wall. We hope this pattern to be expressive. But later on, we don't find it very suitable. The pattern looks too rigid. It's too square-shaped. So then we do some changes about the landscape in the front and in the back. So the background got blurred, and then we change the direction of the patterns. You could see it's changed in the second version, and also in the second version it's more dynamic. And the colors change as well. There shall be 5 circles above in different colors. So if there are still too many colors in the patterns, it will be too much. So we delete most of the other colors and remain only yellow and blue. So it's more uniform and plain. It's straightforward. Actually, the less the better. It's easy for our understanding. If there are too many factors, you don't get the focal point. Here there are colors. But now in this new version, the patterns change. But the distance between 2 squares, they are still changed. It's broad in the second version. Could you please tell us why you changed the spaces between 2 different grids? I know that this pattern is quite straightforward. When we designed this version, it was in the Spring Festival, and there was a veto about this pattern. So we started our rework. And accidentally, we broadened one of the spaces between 2 grids. And suddenly I was a hit. I found it better. So I thought, how about we make the spaces all bigger between all the grids? For example, over here. So it's just like they are chasing after each other. So there will be different spaces between every 2 patterns. There seems to be 3 different layers. So I think the less the better. It's more expressive. But in this one picture, there are too many factors and too many colors. They don't feel good. And they are all blue. It's a bit mundane with all the blue. So in the second picture, I added a little bit green into the blue to differentiate. You could find the same blue, and there are several green in between.
那您刚刚也说，就是说，这么多的这个颜色到雪上去测试，那因为比如说
Because you have to test the uniforms on ice and snow. Sometimes we find black most stark against the white snow. So I'm curious, How do you make your decision? Whether the colors of the uniforms and the grade levels shall be determined on the snow and ice. There used to be 3 main colors: green, blue, and red. We passed green because green will be challenging. So we choose red. Green is actually a mixture of blue and yellow. I choose red first, because after all we are Chinese, and red can represent China. Then gradually I found not many colors to blend with red. And after completing this design, and we tested it on the mountains, we found the problems, because there will be some light reflection on the snow. And a lot of the factors cannot be reflected on this clothes. It just looked like white and nothing more. Like you said, gray on the white snow will look like white. With your naked eye, it looks different in the wild environment, different from indoors. So we need to put it in different scenarios and environment to check if those colors are quite obvious. We also need to check the indoor colors and then take it outside. We will firstly go to the cloudy places, for example, in the northern part, to check about the colors, and then we put it under the sunlight to see whether it looks fine under direct sunlight. If it's direct sunlight, the colors will go lighter. And also we need to take it outdoors to check the heat insulation function. So this gray turned out to be white in strong lights. So it's improper. It looks fine indoors, but not outdoors on the snow. You said this one was the previous design. It looks rigid. It looks fine to us. In pictures, but as to the real thing, that will be different. And also you need to consider the harmony between all the factors in the patterns. For example, the direction of all the factors. If they are too complex, then it will be vetoed. And here you could see the different shades of blue in the mountains. So there are layers. We keep saying that to design something, you need to keep it simple, maybe through the harmony between the elements or through the harmonious direction of all the factors. We hope to simplify. To tell the whole story in 1 minute with 3 different characters, it will be difficult. But to take 1 minute to elaborate on one single point is easier. So we hope to make it more friendly. And speaking of the small ball on the head, I heard that this small ball on top could be taken down. In the beginning, I thought that the design shall highlight the legs, the long legs. So I thought that the hat shall be in the same color with the trousers. No wonder I had the idea that the Asian designers pay more attention to how fit the clothes is for the girls. And especially for the sports athletes, they need to look high-spirited with the fit suits. So visually, we hope to make it perfect. After all, there are two parts. It's not a one piece. There are the overcoats and the pants. So this design will naturally shorten the height of a person. So we do hope to visually make it better. So we make the head the similar color with the pants. But some people don't favor red, especially girls. So you can change. And if you want to take the red ball down, it's up to you. And also the patterns on the pants can help you to think that they have long legs. I learned that people are very excited about these designs. They must be very grateful. You think all for them, how tall they look inside the suits. And I was wondering, could they change the red balls? Actually, during the games time, they're not allowed to change their outfits. But after the games, of course, they can change the decorations. I was talking about mixing a match. I think it will be interesting. Now let's move over there to have a glimpse about the other works of Madame He. This is fantastic. Is this the costume for the ceremony, the award granting? No, this is for the short track speed skating test event. It's already done. And test events are very important, so the whole procedure must be highly relative to the Olympic Games, and they need such suits. They cannot just wear the athlete suits. I have another question. The one in white seems better fit with the narrower waist than this one. Sorry about the scarves. It needs to be rearranged. This outfit was designed for the alpine skiing. And this one was designed for the indoors. That's why this one is much thicker than the first one. We put some heat insulation function into this second outfit. And it's fluffy. And of course, it has still some rooms. That's why it looks fatter than the first one, because it's worn outdoors. But it doesn't show you fat. It's worn already by the girls. That's the photo. They won these outfits in 2020 in the water cube for the test events. You see that they don't look fat in those outfits. Very good design. The one wearing white was holding the plate for awarding ceremony. I see a lot of red for the Chinese designs. Yes, Chinese favorite red is more festive. This is for Liu Liu. Tell us about your design. I heard you won a silver award. This is the over jacket. With my naked eyes, I cannot see the difference between those clothes. I can see the flowing lines here. Of course, they have similar structure and functionality. But I did some changes. You can see all the straight lines. And as you can see, the main lines in my clothes are oblique. They're diagonals. And I also see some snowflakes on the shoulder. Were you informed to put the snowflakes on? Yes, the snowflakes are one core element, so I have to put it on. So when you were designing the clothes, you will be given some basic patterns to choose from, and also basic colors. You cannot go too wildly. But of course, you're left with some room of imagination. Even with the same patterns, different designers may come up with different designs. I know that you will look similar, but if you look at the details, for example, the color, the sleeves, the designs are different. In a dark place, such designs are reflective, so it will be conspicuous on the snow and ice. Is this designed for outdoor activities? Yes. And that depends. This is the overcoat. I was designing it for the staff members and officials. And the red was for volunteers.
So maybe our translator couldn't hear her very clearly. So this is a functioning outfit for sports on snow, and this is 这个是也是 so this is also for the PT pass holder and also for staff members. 不对呀，但现在分了3类，是现在志愿者是蓝色的。
So the volunteers.
So now the volunteers are wearing blue, but this is so she won a silver medal for this set of design, and this was for now technician is and also staff are red and black, but she designed it for blue. So, and also what they mentioned is that they will have a unified design pool that you pull colors and you pull the pictures and icons and design, basic design from. And then you can really design what the sleeves like, what the colors look like, how you want the hood to be, and how to fit it. So this is what comes about. 好，那我继续问贺阳老师的这个部分。
I have more questions to follow. In my preview, I touched upon one interesting point. There was a GPS positioning technique on the sleeves, but now it was changed to one other important device. This is the GPS positioning system. It may not be necessary because some snow parks don't have the technologies. I think in the artificial snow parks, there will be no extreme dangers, such as the snow slide. So it may not be very useful. And this is one pocket. This is a whistle. You could ask for help with the whistle. So considering the environment in Beijing, the GPS is more useful for some wild snow parks, just in case of the snow slide. And now we put the whistle inside the small pocket, just in case. And I also see some notes. These lines are now taken out. This is the previous version. And the zipper is too small. If the athletes are wearing gloves, it's not easy for them to hold the zipper. And we also take out this
是相当
part.
于说整体位移一点点。
Yes, we put it in another place. It's too tall.
到这个，你看这个
It may cut through their chin, so we take it down a little bit.
要提高。你看这个最终的就是
And this is the final version. This is the zipper.
拼接线，
And there is no line over here anymore.
其实我一直很好奇，这个拼接线是为了这个
它是为了隐藏这个拉丝。
What is the point of those lines?
就是让它有地方缝。
To make the zipper invisible.
这种以后就不需要了，这个就是。
But now this is unnecessary.
那个就是拼接，就是一个
That's the
组合
joint line.
合并的
But now I dig a hole
改成这个呢
to make this zipper visible.
这个地方还要对花，就才
口
能
袋有多大？
How big is this pocket?
可以放手机哦
It's，pretty big. You can put your cell phone inside.
深度也
It's very deep.
感觉在揩油。
对。你看这些地方也有口袋吧，但是它就隐藏在里面了。
This is another pocket. It's
我从来没有
invisible.
想到说你设计拉链还要考虑到你手套能不能拉。
I never thought
因
about
为你戴着手套的时候容易
holding the zipper with gloves. That is too delicate.
这是一个贴，这是一个贴暖宝宝的神秘位置。
And this is another pocket.
对，
You can put in
东西不会
something,
往下坠吗？就是你感觉你就。
可能也不能放太
and you can also put some warm pastes in the back.
哇塞，我的天！
放手套
But not computers, I guess, is too big.
放的可能多一个功能吧。
But just in case.
可能会放手了。
那我来给大家听一听这个声音，
Listen,
就是这样的声音。
其实声音并不想要太大。
we don't want to make the
但
sound
我的意
too
思就是说，它的
strong.
这个材质其实就是为了防雪和保暖嘛。
I know that the materials used for this outfit
是这样
were
的
for warm
这样摸
insulation
不到我替大家摸。
and snowproof and windproof.
就是以前吧，尼龙它不好印花，因为
Nylon
得低温。
was not the perfect choice for printing patterns.
这个印花一直不好解决。但是尼龙呢，
But
是在这个寒冷的
In the cold environment, nylon is the best choice.
它能够更好的耐这个
It can withstand the cold.
在寒冷的情况下更加有韧性。
It's more flexible and resilient.
特别细腻，看起来非常柔和细腻。
And now, if you look at the patterns, they're delicate.
印花的这个户外服装里面是一个前沿的。
So it's already a cutting edge technology among all the nylon designs with patterns.
啊，对，哦，
所以材料上也是比较超前。
对
So we
对对
actually innovated the
因
materials
为我也
based
在
on
观
nylon.
察就是因为我想
这都可以发光的。
对摸到这种就
And they
想
can
到
reflect the
就是
colors.
经常就是去滑雪嘛，有很多国产品。
There are a lot of
这个
made in
舒服
China
所以
brands
看到您这个我就觉得哇塞，
for skiing, and now those outfits are better quality. We are now calling upon 300 million people to get on the ice and snow. It's a vast population, so you can imagine the market for the skiing outfits
那我知道
and
你这个
equipment.
就是那其实说您觉得这样子发展的话，这个咱们
In your
的
eyes,
造价
do you think
更
with
实惠
this
更好因为其
development,
实现在说
the
真的
price
当然
of
便宜
the
的几乎
outfits
都没有
will be
但是到
lower?
这个可能
Now the average is about several hundred to 1,000 RMB yuan, and for the very pricey outfit, it costs maybe over 2,000 RMB yuan. That's actually the markup price for the brand. The cost is not that high. You can also choose to customize. Customized clothes will be more expensive. It's on demand.
总的来说，越做的量
In general,
越大，
with the market trend, I think it
个性定
cost
制化
will
品
go
实现了
lower.
我的想象，我的天。
But customization
然
is
后
beyond
然后
my
对了这一
imagination.
次还有这个保暖层，就是我一直不太清楚这个
I
保
see
暖
a
层
layer
的
for
这
heat
个外套
insulation.
就是那么多件，它们都是为了什么？然后包括你
I
看
wasn't
这个
sure
保
why
温
there are different outfits for different purposes.
它这个都太厚。
This is too thick for wearing indoors, so they wear the thinner ones inside the venues.
这个在室内，
So this one is for indoors.
可能有冰吧，它可能有。
But out on the ice and snow, they will wear a thicker overcoat.
那很多工作人员还在室内。
Some staff members keep working indoors, so they don't need to wear the heavy
这
overcoat.
个是
Those are detachable. They're not the final version, but the functions are similar. You can also take down the belts. It can be a belt, pants, but also one independent pants without belts. So from the functioning perspective, it looks better. And the belts do have some functionalities, but if you want to take it out, it's up to you. I can imagine how they look on the handsome guys.
所以有规范，但是就是说，这个衣服我们能想象之后，它的这个实用性还是很高的。就是说，你搭配啊。
Uniforms are quite pragmatic. And also, it has good ventilation. If you feel too hot, you can take down the zipper. It's the same thing for the overcoat. So if you see some holes under the armpits, they're not worn out clothes. They're just for good ventilation.
所以真的是全方位。哎，我看。你看这个有个小改动，我觉得就。
There was another detail.
这样哈，就是这个要长一点嘛，因为这样可以把它缩小一点，保暖嘛。对，就是这样。对，但是我后来改成这样了。
I changed the loop fasteners.
一个图形就好像不是多出一块来，感觉好像。
It doesn't look good if the fasteners are too big. So I change it smaller. I do have some shared feelings about the bigger fasteners because sometimes the ashes or some other things may attach to the fasteners. But now I cut them into 2 smaller pieces. And it looks prettier.
而且为什么我觉得这个这么的立体，这个反而有一点。
这是个女装。哦。这是个男装。
怪不得。
That is for the girls, and this one is for the boys. And the girls have to consider their waist. The shape looks different. You could see the curves over here. It's an S-shaped body. And for the boys, it's straight. And the shoulders have to be bigger. And also the boys prefer oversized clothes. And for some older athletes, we have to consider their bellies. This is the first design for the longer overcoat. We later realized that it's too big, so we cut it shorter. Can I take it for a closer look? If I'm wearing it, it's just like putting a very big blanket over myself. It's very long. And then you cut it to above the knees. It's pretty heavy. It has very good heat insulation functionality. You can press it. I never knew the difference between whether it can be compressed or not, because now I realize if it can be compressed thinner, it means it has good ventilation. And also you have to look if the inside materials can get out when you compress it. It doesn't have a very good waterproof and windproof functions. Those are all the inside stories. If your elbow folds,
哦，就相当于说你穿上的时候，你的这个字是刚好在
The words will run up. So we have to make sure that even though you bend your elbows, the words will be still in the middle. And all the words are shown when you bend your elbow. What about the pads on the shoulders? That's the slippery proof. When you're holding something on your shoulders, it's much easier for you with the skid resistance.
为什么要放海？
You put some sponge inside. Why? Because if you hit something on your back, the sponges will be a buffer zone.
哦，而且这样子也更暖一点。
And it's warmer.
下它有一个这样束领带的，你可以把它
扣着。
扣住，就是血不会跑进去。你也可以放。
And if you buckle up over here, the snow cannot get inside your body.
这边还有一个海绵跟后背是这样的，就是让这个地方
This is also the spongy for cushioning.
所以不要害怕背小书包了。
So you don't have to be afraid of wearing the backpacks now.
对，然后这个透气孔，昨天这种也跟我说了一下，就是它就一开始好像是说是我忘了是哪一件，我记得是没有，就是一片还是是另外一种。
Those are the air holes. Every skiing outfits have such air holes.
哦，
那你平常是这样正好哈。
You have to consider that the skiers and the snowboarders will have to bend their waist, so
像我这件衣服，
the collar will get over your chain and it doesn't feel good. So we make the collar shorter.
透气的，因为很多
And also it has very good air holes.
滑雪去工作，
啊对。
And also some officials and volunteers will also have to ski or snowboarding to send something to the athletes. So if they bend,
哇塞，所以
the collar will have to be shorter.
会去考虑。
You're very considerate.
衣服它这边是有图案哈，这边是我用了黑色，一个是省得这边也有图案，你还得去对这个花，那就太麻烦了哈。其实用这个素色的黑的。
And also the black color on the two sides make you look
像
thinner.
显腿长的部分，就是这儿到这儿都是黑的，就是从底下然后一直到上来。
And in order to make the legs longer, they are all made black.
哎，然后您最后跟我们讲讲这个。
Finally, could you please share with us about the torch relay?
这个衣服呢，就是火炬手的衣服，它必须是白色为主。
The torch relayers must wear white, because white is the dedicated color from the IOC. And with the white flags and the 5 circles, those are typical of the IOC. So it has to be white. But among white, we adding some other patterns. If you look closer,
摸起来是
and if you touch it,
这种
they're sticky.
胶的这种印刷，其实是一种硅胶材料。
It's made of gel,
细看的时候，它有
silicon gel.
就是但远看又不影响它是一个白色的，所以这样就是有点细节。等你近看的时候，也觉得跟这个山形哈，就是
It's in the shapes of the
多
mountains.
一个表达中国传统的。
That's one Chinese element.
因为我是觉得，如果这上面这么红，这特白，显得这稍微有点弱。
I think if it's too white against the red, it's
会在这个上面
too much. So I want to strike a balance between red and white. So I adding some
但是这个图形呢，我们是用了这个核心
lines.
散去散形的
And if you look at the patterns,
一个飘带。
this is the flying belt. I use a lot of those elements
跟火炬的关系就是多
to relate it with the torch.
飘带。
It's a very big flying belt.
这个是红色的，这个红色的到袖子上。
And all the others on the sleeves
其实
and the sides are red.
风吗？跑
That
着
is
做
also air hole?
一
Yes.
般也不会，平常还是能忍受。
开张
Usually they don't need it.
但是如果你热了也可以。
But if they get very hot,
那
they can
我一直
open
很
it.
好奇，为什么这里有个绳，然后那个
I'm also
那边
wondering
也是
about
有
this
个绳
design.
你太大了，你可以弄小一点。
That's for changing the size. If the hat is too big for you, you can just fasten it to make it smaller.
又可
and better fit for you.
有时候这个也会太宽了，你一收就会厚一点，就是刚好跟你的头合适，这边也合适，这边也合适。
It will be suitable for your
合
head.
适了就露一点，你这样转的时候，不然就是太大了，你转。
Otherwise, if the head is too big and you turn your head, your eyes are covered by the head.
它会就是挡着你。
有时候你戴个帽子，你想过马路。
For example, you're crossing the road and you turn your head to look at the vehicles, and the head is too big for you to see something.
它就是更好一点。一般的
So this design is better.
奥运会吧，它不能够就是说，比如说材料啊
For the Olympic Games,
它不能是试验性的。比如说你现
we cannot make some experiments. You cannot develop something starting from the scratch. It has to be safe, and you must have years of evidence. I see. So today, we explore into Madame He's workshop, and that's all for my show. It's a very warm workshop, and thank you for watching.
我是阿成，拜拜。